very welcome, and thank you for joining us for Tourism Ireland's first virtual Ireland Meets the Middle East workshop. And it's an absolute pleasure to have you all here today. What we're looking for from you is to get a sense of your perspective and your opinion of how travel and tourism will play out this year and how it's changed over the last year or so. So just to introduce everyone, I'm joined here today by David Boyce, Head of Emerging Markets at Tourism Ireland, His Excellency Ambassador Aidan Cronin, who is Ambassador of Ireland. We have Mansour, who is General Manager at Ray Latty by Tanata Travel, and Rob Arrow, Product Development Director and Head of Concierge at Sierra Travel Group. You're all very, very welcome. So first, David, to you. As Head of Emerging Markets, what have been the biggest challenges for you since March 2020?
Well, thank you, Aisling. Looking back, I think, we all thought back in March that this was going to be a short-term pause in all our activity and everything that we were doing. And I think the uncertainty around that and the unknowingness that has developed since then has probably been the biggest challenge. When industry in Ireland were, as you all would know, completely devastated by our travel industry, by this pandemic. And I think that, having to lock everything down and then being hopeful and things looking better and then adjusting to the possible opening up again. And we did that last summer to some degree of success, certainly from the stay-at-home market anyway. And then just the roller coaster of this thing for us to actually turn off and turn on again. The promotion of Ireland has been the most challenging thing I certainly have faced, and I've been through quite a number of things in my time, world events, 9/11, SARS and all of that, but this is in a field all of its own. The challenge for us was to work with the industry in Ireland to keep them alive as best we could, and best we can still, and offering up opportunities and providing no-cost platforms for them to come on the market around the world, and that was so important. I think also just looking at the way the whole devastation of people's well-being and how that the population of Ireland would think about welcoming tourism back, and that is going to be a challenge, not just for Ireland but for other countries as well. But it's how we have to work around that and see how we can all work together to make this all happen again. And I think the other challenge was the communication that we had, switching from face-to-face to virtual, which has actually worked reasonably well. But I do know that people can't wait to get back to the traditional way we do sell Ireland, and that's basically face-to-face, and to share our biggest story of all time, and that's the welcome of the Irish people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Ambassador, how has the role of the embassy developed throughout the pandemic?
Thanks, Aisling, and hello to everybody. Thanks for joining us. Look, as David said, I think we all thought that this would be a pause in our activities, and I think back to almost exactly 12 months ago. It was the last time that I left UAE. I've been in Dubai twice in the last 12 months, when before this I would have been there twice a day on occasion, certainly twice a week. The great challenge for us really has been the fact that we're pretty much desk-bound and have been for a whole year. And, in my job, okay, there's certain work that you can do from the office, but as a colleague of mine once said to me, Aidan, the more time you spend at your desk as an ambassador, the less work you're getting done, because we need to be out there. And that's been the greatest challenge for us as diplomats. Not meeting people, not connecting with new people, not reconnecting with old contacts. And it's hard to do that from home, if you're working at home, from the office, if you're working at the office, when you're pretty much chained to the desk, which we still are, because we've taken a very cautious approach. That said, in terms of the work we've been doing, there has been a lot of important work that we've done from the office, particularly with the Irish community. It came in stages. For the first couple of months, March, April, May, maybe into June, it was really a huge consular effort. The Department of Foreign Affairs brought home about 8,000 Irish citizens, or assisted 8,000 Irish citizens, most ever in such a short period of time. A lot of them would have come through Dubai in particular, and we would have been involved in making sure that they got flights to get home, because those first couple of months were dealing with a lot of people who've been travelling, who were stranded in UAE and Qatar, Kuwait and beyond, who were stranded in Australia, stranded in New Zealand. So that was a real effort for us, and I think we did a pretty good job there. And again, it comes in I suppose, peaks. There was a relatively quiet period after that. Then the summer came, and again, residents here wanted to get home. And I have to say, throughout the last 12 months, us working with the airlines, they've been excellent. Etihad, Emirates, and Qatar in particular, were really helpful. And we've strengthened our relationships with them because of that. That's one of the few good things to come from this. So it's been a busy time. It's been a challenging time. It's also been a very interesting time. We have contingency plans in place for all sorts of eventualities. We never thought we'd need one for this. We now have one for hopefully the next pandemic, which doesn't happen. So that's just, I suppose, some insight into what we've been doing. We've been working closely with the GEA here, working very closely with the Irish Business Network up in Dubai, webinars, community outreach, that kind of thing. So we're still doing the same things, we're just doing them very, very differently. And I'm really looking forward to getting out and about and meeting people again, because I miss it. Thanks.
We're looking forward to seeing you back in Dubai, and I think we'll all agree we're definitely missing the face-to-face interaction and meetings and that kind of bond that comes from that. We have your general manager of Relati by Donata Travel, and your core philosophy is travel designed by Emiratis for Emirati travellers. Are you seeing any outbound travel at present from the UAE?
From the UAE, yes. Thank you, I think, for that question. Yes, we have seen notable demand for outbound travel from the UAE. At Donata Travel, we have built the H.E brand as a startup model with the focus on delivering a very strong value proposition for the UAE national travel segment. And one of our core values, which we have strengthened in this current climate, has been to position ourselves as a partner for Emirati travel by updating our following customers on where is open for travelers from the UAE at the present and what they require to be able to travel. Now, our high touch point model has supported this and has allowed us to remain in regular contact with every single customer throughout their journey, which has bolstered their trust in our brand. Now, we have witnessed a significant demand in recent bookings and a demand for travel throughout the pandemic, once leisure travel from the UAE opened up once again. Now, in fact, we have been in operation for a little bit less than 2 years, and I'm very happy to say that actually we have achieved a 3% growth from our launch year, and our focus at this time remains on relationship management and maximizing on the current availability of destinations that are open for travel and for leisure from the UAE. Now, our top-selling travel destinations at this time have included the Maldives, Kenya, and Tanzania and Russia, firstly due to the attractiveness of these destinations from the private islands of the Maldives or the beaches of Zanzibar or the safari experiences in Tanzania and in Kenya. Now, this has been enhanced by the flexible restrictions that these countries have had in place, no visa requirements for UAE nationals, and of course our strong partners that are available on ground.
Okay, thanks, Rehab. Rob, as Product Development Director and Head of Concierge at Sierra Group, you're very in tune with client needs. What is the appetite for travel at present, and how do you see that changing throughout 2021?
Thank you very much, and obviously thank you for inviting me to the panel today. Look, I suppose it's slightly different because most of our clients are based in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. So the border situation and the cautiousness that the government has taken in regards to leisure travel has been slightly different to other countries around the GCC. And obviously at the moment the borders remain pretty much closed for leisure travel. However, as Sierra and within our consumer travel brand and also our corporate brand Ela as well, so Al Musafa and Ela are two brands. We've been sense checking with a lot of our customers as to how and when they want to travel. And the great thing that we're seeing is that there is a huge want to travel. The sentiment is as soon as the borders reopen and they can travel, they want to travel. Like we're talking like nearly 80% of the clients that we have been asking this question to, they want to travel. So I think it's great to see that, look, the pandemic has had a huge impact and had a huge effect. Obviously, a lot of the media attention on the pandemic has made people slightly apprehensive and nervous about traveling. However, it hasn't stopped people having that lust and want to travel. Like wanderlust is still there, and I think that's the great thing, and that's what we focus on. We focus on the fact that they want to travel. Obviously, at the moment in the Kingdom of Saudi, there's a lot being done for domestic tourism, and a lot of people are still traveling domestically. So we see that people want to travel. From this, we are seeing how people want to travel in the future, and this gives us a great insight as to what we can do, obviously as soon as the time is right, for those borders to open and for people to travel from either Saudi or from Kuwait or wherever it might be on an international level. So it's great to see that, and that keeps us going. That's what really drives us to keep embracing it and for us to keep developing what we do as a business. So for us, it's been fantastic, some of the developments that have been taking place in the background for when our customers want to travel internationally again.
That's very positive, and it's great indication of where we'll get to when travel opens up again. David, from your perspective, what has Tourism Ireland been doing to ensure that Ireland is ready for visitors from a health and safety perspective?
Well, as you probably can guess and aware of, a lot of the hospitality businesses last year, when it did open up again in the summertime, did introduce lots of measures to ensure that social distancing, etc., sanitization points and all of that stuff was deployed in their properties. That is still there, and it is a very important and a very key element to anyone planning a trip to Ireland to be assured that we have all, as best we can anyway, all of the social distancing and measures in place. The other thing is, of course, that going forward, provision has been made at some of the major attractions for smaller numbers of groups. In other words, you know, if you take the Cliffs of Moher, for example, or Guinness Storehouse, whatever, they have redesigned how they do and display their wares. So, you know, it will be a lot safer from a COVID perspective. It will be certainly as interesting, if not more interesting, because I think the opportunity that this has given has been an opportunity in that it has given businesses to time to really look at how they do things and how they attract customers. So look, Ireland has done, our industry, in fairness, have done the very best they can. They've obviously had government support to do this, so it has been a great help and a great support, and we are looking forward to safety charters, etc., that are all being rolled out at the moment, and how that will actually satisfy and make people feel more comfortable, not just, as I say, in the solid bricks and mortar attractions, but also in our transportation and how we deal with that on the ground. So Ireland, as good as anywhere else, maybe in some cases ahead of the game. We are a very green country, very friendly country, and lots of fresh air. So there's a big attraction, and we just have to get it. And we have got it to a degree where when things open up, when we can do it, we'll be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Ambassador, Ireland is rolling out its vaccine program in tandem with the rest of the world. Do you feel that Ireland will ease our restrictions in international travel a lot as the vaccine is rolled out across Ireland?
Thanks, Ashley. Look, there probably isn't all I can say on that. I mean, the easing of restrictions, it's a matter for government back in Dublin, and they base their decisions on the advice of the health authorities. So, I mean, it would be unwise of me to speculate as to the when or how restrictions would be lifted. Obviously, look, we all hope that it'll be, you know, soon, and I can appreciate how frustrating and how worrying it is for people at home who are working in and depending on the hospitality and tourism sectors. Let me reassure, I suppose, the viewers that when, and it's not if, when restrictions are lifted, this embassy and the entire Irish embassy network will be working, I think, harder than ever before with Tourism Ireland to encourage people and to get people to go to Ireland. And as David was saying, I think we'll be at least as well placed as many, possibly better placed than many, to offer a very safe, a very secure environment. And I think the more rigorous we are now in terms of, beating the pandemic, I think that will stand to us in the long term, because Ireland, has always had a reputation of being a very safe place to visit. And I think even more so post-COVID, that will stand to us. And what we're doing now, even though, as I said, it's frustrating and it's worrying for people, that will stand to us as well, because the Irish government, the Irish people are tackling this in a very serious way. And I know people are frustrated at home, but it's a question, I suppose, of bearing with it. And, there is light at the end of what has been an extremely long and at times very, very dark tunnel for people. And again, particularly for people like those depending on the hospitality and tourism sectors. So, look, we'll all be doing what we can to get people back to Ireland. And I'm pretty confident that they will go, because I think it was Rob was saying, people want to travel. People have missed a lot of things over the course of the last 12 months. They've missed each other. They've missed being able to, go for a 10-kilometre drive, never mind going overseas. And I think post-COVID would actually be a really great opportunity for countries like Ireland to say to people who want to travel, come visit us. Come sample our welcome. See what a safe, secure, wonderful country Ireland is. Thanks.
I, for one, will be first in the queue to get back home when we can. David, 2019 was a record year for visitors from the Middle East to the island of Ireland. How important are visitors from the Middle East to Ireland's tourism recovery?
Well, as you know yourself, Ashley, we value the visitor from the Middle East for a number of reasons, and very important market for us. We look at the higher spend, the longer stay, the luxury end, and how that they actually enjoy some of our higher end properties in Ireland, and we've had some first-hand experience of that. Our luxury accommodation in Ireland is second to none, probably best, I would say, and certainly in Britain and Ireland, we would probably be way ahead of many properties. The investment by the hotel industry themselves, has been in 30-40 million euro during 2018 and 19, and bringing some of our hotels into a great standard, and winning awards for that, world-renowned awards as well. So luxury accommodation, our attractions, our horse racing, all of that stuff attracts Middle Eastern visitors, and that is how we see it. And the connections we have also with the Middle East from a business perspective as well is very strong. The key elements of our success basically, and continue to be, the direct access from Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Qatar to Dublin. And we're very pleased and thank our airlines for continuing throughout this whole situation, and are doing that on a daily basis now, all three of them. So look, that is a strong component of how we see the business going forward. The visa free for UAE nationals is also a very important element, and I think that's something that is quite unique for us, and we will continue to market in the Middle East. We'll look at other ways of getting the message out there, and indeed spreading the word to other areas as well. As you know, Ashley, the virtual situation with this has led us go into states like Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, and so it whilst we would rather be doing it face to face, the advantage of this allows us to spread our wings further. So the Middle East in general, very important market, and we'll be keeping marketing there for sure.
Yeah, and direct access just makes it so easy to get there.
Yeah.
Rehab, what do you feel will be the rising trends in tourism and holidays when travel resumes?
Well, throughout the global pandemic, we have remained in constant contact with our Emirati community. Our customer touchpoints have included ongoing travel surveys, updates via our several dedicated communication channels, and from these touchpoints, we have been able to identify some potential travel trends for the near future when travel restrictions loosen up. Now, we found that the UAE nationals in general, as Rob mentioned, and I think it's across the GCC, they want to travel and they anticipate new travel destinations opening up. Now, as per a recent World Travel and Tourism Council report, travelers have indicated that they want to go to places that they are familiar with, and this is in congruent with the feedback we have gathered also from our surveys from the market. Now, as a result of such trends, we would expect that Ireland would be at the top of the list as a holiday destination for UAE national travelers specifically when the time is right. And this is due to the fact that it was actually one of our most sold destinations during our first year of operation. Mirroring this trend, in a recent survey, which we also conducted for Emirati travelers, 48% of respondents have said that they want to relax in the countryside and they want to be away from the crowds, would be the type of trip that they would be interested in booking in the future. Now, from our survey results on the whole, we anticipate that nature and secluded getaways will be in demand. And here we can say that Ireland would be a great destination to cater for this due to the vast availability of secluded luxury hotels, countryside experiences, and the opportunity to have a family getaway, a romantic getaway, or even just an escape for a group of friends away from the bustling cities. Now, finally, additional feedback we also have gathered has indicated that there is a desire to visit places that are closer to home, so things like Saudi Arabia, especially undiscovered locations. And we should also expect to see last-minute bookings as and when more travel destinations become accessible.
Great. Well, that's music to our ears. We love to hear that Ireland will be at top of the bucket list.
Yeah, for sure.
Rob, from a Saudi Arabia perspective, how is it similar in terms of travel demands, or how do you see those demands changing post-pandemic?
Yeah, I think sort of probably to echo what His Excellency and obviously Rehab was saying as well, but look, people have changed in what they're looking for. We're seeing now, obviously, from some, as I say again, from the sentiment surveys that we have done and from the inquiries that we are receiving, that people are wanting to travel to destinations which offer similarities to what they were experiencing before, but probably in a safer environment. Obviously, Ireland has that beauty, as everyone has said on the call. You have luxury properties, but they're also in areas of seclusion. Even Dublin, it's a fantastic city with luxury properties. It has everything that other cities in Europe have, but it's a slightly smaller scale. There's slightly less people, less crowded, etc. And this is what a lot of clients want. A lot of Saudis, for instance, they travel with their families, and family is very important in making sure that the destination that they're traveling to is safe. It's safe from a health perspective. It's obviously safe from just a general perspective as well. Obviously, there is a great draw to somewhere like Ireland because there is the greenery, there is the space, there is great food. It ticks so many boxes, and we are seeing this. We're seeing new destinations. We're seeing requests for places that maybe they had thought about in the past but hadn't necessarily traveled to before. One of the other great things that we are seeing is also that people want to travel for longer. Because there's been such a long period where they haven't been able to do any traveling outside of the kingdom, for instance, they want to go for longer. We're seeing now, instead of it being maybe 5 to 7 days, it's 10 days plus. So it's it's a great opportunity to go a little bit further, but to go somewhere safe. Obviously, if we look at Saudi, or we even look at Kuwait, where we have operations as well, we don't have the direct access to the Republic of Ireland. However, because of now even better, we have access through Qatar Airways as well as Emirates and Etihad, and obviously other connections from Saudi Arabia. It's also making it very easy and price competitive to travel to somewhere such as the Republic of Ireland as well. And I suppose that the difference in the mentality of a lot of our Saudi clients is they've always been used to having to do potentially one stop to get somewhere. So it's great from that perspective. They get to spend a couple of days in Dubai or in Doha or Abu Dhabi, and then they will travel on to a destination such as Dublin, and then explore Ireland from there as well. So I think that as we see moving into the future, there is a change. There's longer trips. Families want to go somewhere safer. Ireland ticks all of those boxes. We've also seen a change in the fact that from the domestic side of tourism, which has never been something that in Saudi Arabia, which has been focused on, and obviously being quite a large country as well, we've seen that we've actually seen firsthand people's wants are changing as well. They want to do different experiences. They're much more interested in horse experiences. Obviously, again, it's great for Ireland because of the equestrian side of things. They want to go out into the countryside and explore. They're becoming far more adventurous when it comes to offshore activities. So there's so many things that they're doing domestically, which are great for us because that then showcases that they can do it abroad and they can do it in somewhere like the Republic. So I think it's great that they're able to do that. Obviously, it's easy to travel from the UK over to Ireland, and there's so much for them to see when they're there. So it's a really exciting destination for us to look at. There are a couple of challenges, obviously, logistically, but we don't see them as very big challenges. And I think for us, again, it will also be a great, safe destination for families and for couples, for honeymooners, because as you say, there are some great properties there. And obviously, there is obviously the film element as well. A lot of people in Saudi Arabia and across the whole of the GCC obviously know that Game of Thrones and other movies are filmed in Northern Ireland and also in Ireland as well. And they love social media. They want to go there. They want to Instagram themselves in these locations that are so familiar to them and understand that they can actually go there and it's not a film set. It's a real village. It's a real town. It's a real street, for instance, that they want to go to as well, which is great.
And all outdoors. And you're really echoing what our own research is saying, is that people will feel comfortable going to Ireland because there's so many things to see and do outdoors and so many options and variety of options there. Ambassador, we're, as you well know, we're around the corner and coming up to St. Patrick's Day, which is Ireland's National Day. How can people join in and celebrate Ireland's National Day from here in the Middle East?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, look, it's not going to be a traditional St. Patrick's Day. Neither was it last year. Little did we think that we'd be still in the same situation 12 months later. It'll be a virtual celebration. We're doing a number of things in the embassy. We've just been running a St. Patrick's Day design competition. So we'll have a very nice logo. We'll have a very nice logo which will be on all of our promotional material and around our promotional activities. We're going to have a virtual National Day, which will involve some really interesting cultural content. I'll be doing some local media, and we'll be connecting with people, sending gift packs with Irish food and some tourism product as well. So things like that. And of course, the big thing that fortunately isn't impacted so much by the pandemic is the wonderful Tourism Ireland greening project. And we're planning and expecting that this year, for the third year in a row, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the largest standing structure in the world, will be lit up in green, as well as the beautiful fountains that are at the bottom of it. So there'll be a lot going on. There'll be a lot of greening around the country. I know that the Late Show, Irish people will be familiar with that, will be screening for the first time ever on a Wednesday night, St. Patrick's night. And wouldn't it be great if there was some shots from Dubai in that? So there are plenty to dip in and dip out of. And we're all looking forward to, I suppose, next year, when we won't be dipping in and dipping out. We'll be having I think the biggest, the greatest and the longest St. Patrick's Day party that any of us have ever had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. We'll join you on that one. And I won't miss the opportunity just to say we have Tourism Ireland are doing a St. Patrick's Day at Home, which is an online virtual event from Ireland. Music, dance, loads of stuff. So it's an hour long that we'll be sharing across all our networks, channels, the embassy networks and channels, with our travel trade partners. So we all hope everyone can join in on that. And now, as we come to the end, we're all hoping we might get on a plane sometime soon for a holiday. I'll just do a little round the table as to where will be your first on your list for travel, and you don't have to say Ireland. So let's start with you, David. You're the closest.
Well, apart from Ireland, of course, that will be the first. But yeah, no, we need to get back to Dubai and Abu Dhabi and down to the Middle East and try and reconnect. Well, I know you're doing it every day, Aisling, but from Niall Gibbons and my own perspective, we need to get back out and visit people. And as the ambassador said earlier, that's how we do things. That's how we did it, and we hope to get back to that very soon. So yeah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and then of course I'll have to go to China at some point as well. So we'll plan that when it comes, the time comes.
We look forward to having you back, Ambassador. What about yourself?
Well, it's been almost 2 years since myself and my family were at home.
Yeah.
So I'd be lying if I said that I'm going to be heading anywhere other than not so much Ireland but Cork. But seriously, to be honest, and I think like a lot of people, I said it earlier, we've all missed the human contact over the last 12 months. So I think that the last thing certainly that I want is to go off somewhere remote on my holidays. I want to go to the big cities. I want to be among people and meeting people. So, you could find me in Sydney, or you could find me in New York, you could find me anywhere, with my family in tow, of course. Might just take 6 months off and do maybe a magical tour, mystery tour.
That
Thanks.
sounds like a dream. That sounds lovely. Rehab, what about yourself?
Well, I think I fit into the Emiratis, I guess. And for me, I have been to the Maldives actually because it's open for travel from the UAE. But however, as soon as, and really this is not because this is about Ireland, but as soon as flights are open to Ireland, I do want to go back to Ireland. And I think actually we spoke about that a couple of times. I keep speaking to you about my my first trip to Ireland a couple of years ago with my family. And I do want to experience that again. And I do want to have the, I'm inspired by the post behind, by the picture behind you of Brown Thomas. So I do want to spend 2 nights in Dublin just shopping, followed by like 8 nights around the countryside and probably staying at the Ashford Castle. That's exactly what I want to do, actually.
I'll go with you.
You've just done our dream itinerary. We have.
I have it all planned.
I hope I'm with you. I can follow along. Rob, what about yourself?
Well, without sounding corny, because I know you didn't say Ireland, but it's a big birthday for me this year at the end of May, beginning of June. And I was deliberating for a long, long time. And I had all these great ideas to go to far-flung places. But unfortunately, it's going to have to be closer to home. And actually, believe it or not, I was back in the UK recently, and there's a lot of TV programs that cover Ireland and the UK at the moment. And I actually thought to myself, do you know what? It's going to be Ireland. So I'm actually planning a road trip in June, as long as it's safe and available to actually travel around Ireland and Northern Ireland. I've got some dear friends in Northern Ireland and also down in Cork as well. So I've decided that, look, do you know what? Those exciting those other destinations, exotic destinations, once in a lifetime, they can wait until I'm a little bit older in the next 10 years. But for now, I really just have this want to go to Northern Ireland, go to Southern Ireland, and it's been a long time, so I really want to see some of the beautiful properties that you have. There was a TV program on about Ballyfin, which just completely got me going, and Adair as well. So it will be the UK and Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland for me for a long 2-week road trip. So yeah.
It's fantastic to hear, and I hope I'm at home to meet you for a cup of tea or something stronger. Birthday one, of course, on me. Oh, well, thank you all very much. It's been really insightful getting your views and opinions on where you feel travel is going this year. Let's all hope we're on a plane very soon for our holidays. Thank you all.